Hi guys, I'm Shiprotham, and in this video I'm going to talk to you guys about what spirituality is and who it is for and who it is not for. Spirituality. Now the very term spirit means something ethereal, something which is unlike material. And when it comes to spirituality, many people can get quite adamant in terms of proving how much they know, as in, okay, so spirit is this. Spirit is some magnificent being of consciousness that is beyond the cosmos, that somehow we are connected with, and that somehow can speak through us, and that we should come together in peace and love and make this world a better place. I wish it was that simple. The problem with this world is that materialism and spirituality cannot come to a point of agreement. Where there is too much of materialism, spirituality usually, if it comes in that place, creates wars. And we have something called religion to thank for. Religion has done a lot of good nevertheless, but let's just keep that for another debate. We all know history. Spirituality, on the other hand, is the study of spirit, is about being in touch with spirit. Spirit also means alcohol, something that is vaporous. The reason why I repeat this to you guys is because a lot of times we come out with, experiences of a certain kind, chakras, healing, rising of the serpentine energy, enlightenment, laws of manifestation. The world is going to be great. There are going to be no more wars. We can come together and we can make love. This near certain utopia is what people are into. And it's no more than a fantasy. Spirituality is not easy, and yet it is. The reason why I say it's not easy is because if you start popping in some LSD and ayahuasca and experience some kind of spiritual experience out of it, well, it could land you into two places. One is, the asylum maybe, and the other is into the deepest and the darkest depths of your subconsciousness. Now, why people feel a healing experience from consuming these drugs and coming out of it while others go through hell is out there for you guys to study and research. According to me, when you connect with the subconsciousness and all the darkest, deepest parts of it, this incomprehensible, unmeaningful mass of information that you cannot make sense out of, that disorients you, that confuses you, and then you come out of it alive. And that gives you the sense of victory. That's really not spirituality. That's just you conquering a part of your subconscious mind where you've come out of it all in one piece and you're like, wow, okay, that's my subconsciousness. You've just discovered what your subconsciousness is. You've just gone into your subconsciousness. That's all, guys. Spirituality is a serious business, okay? A lot of self-sacrifice is what is required when you start a spiritual life, and this is why a lot of people are not able to sincerely take on a spiritual life, and why a lot of spirituality is diluted into this make-believe sort of like I can jog and sort of like practice the headstand sort of spirituality. I'm not going to look down on these things because they do initiate a preliminary experience of spirituality. Spirituality is not about being right always. Spirituality is also not about being wrong always. Spirituality is about discernment. The material world has made life so much more chaotic and complex, and spirituality seeks to bring in some of this harmonious simplicity that is intrinsic to what spirituality is, because as you can imagine, you just have to sit in one place and connect to your inner core of your being, rather than run about in this highly competitive world and be at each other's necks, right? But I'm also going to tell you that there are a lot of spiritual people who are out there in the Himalayas and in Varanasi and even abroad, without any money. They're living quite difficult lives on a material level. And that's where you want to draw a balance. That's where you want to say, maybe we need a little bit of materialism, and then maybe we need a little bit of spiritualism. We need a bit of both. Spirituality is not for those people who think that they can smoke up and then do all kinds of drugs and then parade around with all kinds of new age mantras and, look down on people and judge them and call them out, ever so often, and say that, well, you know what, actually, I think the experience is like this. I think you're wrong. But you know what, you're not behaving in a politically correct manner, so therefore you are less spiritual than me. All of this bickering around has given rise in this day and age to a lot of spiritual calamities rather than spiritual revelations. All I want to tell you is that if you want to get into the spiritual life, you have to have a certain amount of courageousness, because spirituality requires you to forsake and sacrifice certain things in your life that you once cherished. For example, if you're a person who loved a lot of money, like a lot of money, I'm sorry to tell you, but spirituality will force you to look the other way. It's going to force you to make you believe that money is not everything in life, that it's just a utility. So spirituality will basically bring things back to balance, and that's not necessarily a comfortable process. The one thing I'd like to warn people about when it comes to spirituality is that it shouldn't become like opium. Opium is a drug that makes you very relaxed and placid, and you become very passive. You don't feel like doing anything. This is not spirituality. Spirituality is not to jack yourself up and sit in a place and with your eyes rolled up and say Om. Spirituality is to go deep within the core of your being, which is one of the most difficult things to achieve, which is to silence your mind. And then go out there into the world with this secret key of harmony and bring this not just into your personal workings, but into the personal workings of other people that you interact with on a daily basis. So when you become a spiritual person, you have a responsibility not just to yourself to bring harmony into you, but also into others. It's just a natural process. A lot of frustrations that one encounters on the spiritual path is when they fail to impress others enough with their spiritual knowledge. You don't always have to be your spiritual teacher. You don't always have to be a spiritual teacher to others. It's enough that you start by being a spiritual teacher just to yourself. Now, if you go out there, preaching to everybody online, leaving comments or doing blogs and saying that you're being less spiritual because you said this, you're being more spiritual than that person because that person is vilifying you, this is not spirituality, this is gossip. Now, the thing with spirituality and yoga is that yoga is just a means to become spiritual. It is not spirituality in its entirety. Spirituality is not about an intellectual showing off of how much you know. It's about how much you can experience and how much you can help others with that experience. How much you can help yourself with that experience. Spirituality is not about thrusting your opinions in a fanatical way by pushing people down and forcing them to believe in your idea of what a certain spiritual concept means. That's spiritual ego. And spirituality is not about hallucinogenic drugs. It's not about aliens, to say the least. I would love to meet an alien, and I would love to hear their version of spirituality. But for what I can tell you, that's an easy way to get distracted by lower entities. Aurobindo talks about a place called the intermediate zone. In this intermediate zone, a zone of transitioning to a higher realm, the practitioner moves from the lower zone of consciousness into the higher zone, and over here in the middle is a zone where the practitioner encounters his intelligence and his intuition all at once. And what happens is that the world of intuition is connected directly to the world of spirits, what people commonly call the world of angels, the world of spirit guides, the world of demons, and all of these things. A lot of times they could also be you, your own voice in your head that's telling you certain things about your existence or about people, about situations around the world that you confuse as intuition or as voices from a higher force or from higher entities or gods or angels. You have to be very careful over here, because at this zone what happens is that a lot of delusions of grandeur tends to occur because there is so much of inflow of bliss on this spiritual path. You start climbing up the chakras, enlightenment starts coming down from this higher realm, and all of a sudden the practitioner is filled with this light, and they think they have realized the whole core of spirituality, that they've become Buddhas. And maybe even that Buddha is talking to them. And then one day Buddha says, well, go and kick that person in the ass because he's thinking crap about you. You might as well do it if you believe in this imaginary Buddha, so watch out. Spirituality requires a lot of discernment. It requires some proficiency of logical reasoning in order to ground these ethereal experiences. In a nutshell, spirituality is something that needs to be practiced step by step and in an orderly manner without fantasizing a lot. Because fantasy and ego is the root of all spiritual calamities. Now, for all of you guys out there claiming that this particular technique works for me while what you say is incorrect, you can use whatever technique you want to use, you know. You can put down anybody else's technique as long as you want to see that your very act of putting down someone is an act of working from spiritual ego or from an egotistical consciousness. So if you are claiming to be spiritual while doing that, I'm sorry to say you are not. I'm just going to end this video by telling you guys that spirituality brings in a lot of harmony, a lot of peace and calm, but it doesn't necessarily make you important. When a spiritual person sees injustice, that is when you actually see the tiger or tigress or the lion of the spirit come out and pounce on the hyenas. The rest of the time, they are the most serene beings on planet Earth. So I'm just going to end this video by saying take care and all the best. In whatever spiritual practice you do not judge others, do not bring them down. But at the same time, when you do see something is incorrect about others' practice or your practice, just go ahead and refine it. And for more videos, check out my next series, which I'm going to be doing on how to activate certain chakras using certain asanas. That's it for me. Please do subscribe to this channel and like this video. Bye-bye.